Hello YouTube, this is Matt Pullen, and we're going to do our third chess sparring session with jrobichess this evening. So I've been having some trouble with jrobi chess. In the last couple games, I'm actually 1-1 if you've missed those previous two videos. So yeah, I'm just going to try and play sharper today, and so he's probably going to play e4, and I think I'm not going to mess around. I'm just going to go Sicilian on him. But he played knight f3, so he's trying to change it up. I was going to play Sicilian if he played e4. See, we're on lichess.org. This is actually the very first time that I've used this particular site. I just discovered it like half an hour ago, and it's pretty attractive looking. It's all like HTML5, all browser-based chess server. I guess it's not starting my clock yet, even though I haven't moved. So I could play c5, hoping for a Sicilian, but I'm going to do something else. I've been successful by playing e6 against knight f3 in the past, so I'm going to try and that's what I'm going to do here. And it's starting his clock. So e6 could lead into a myriad of different defenses. He's playing g3, so he's probably going to go into King's Indian attack. So I'm thinking of either playing b6 or b5 to, think out my bishop as well. I could play d5 and c5 and go into a French KIA, but no, I think I'm going to try. I think we're going to try this kind of a Polish defense situation. I mean, the b5, it gains a little more space on the queen side, discourages him from playing c4, but the pawn could prove to be overextended at times. All right, he has not played d4, so maybe I can play c5 and sort of take as much possible space. So he's going to put his pawn on e4. Probably don't want to play f5 here because I need to get some more pieces out. f5, he could play e4. And then pawn takes knight g5 to take advantage of the fact that my bishop on b7 is hanging. So now I need to think about, do I want to play d5 here early? Or do I want to just stay flexible, let him play e4? And I think maybe I want to put my pawn on d6 and bring the knight on e7. But then what do I want to do with this bishop then? I could just play like queen c7, knight f6, bishop e7, and sort of play it like a hedgehog. Is my OBS recording? Yes, it is. Just making sure. All right, that seems interesting. He's possibly preparing c4, and he was going to double fianchetto. I could play bishop e7, and then when he plays bishop e2, bishop f6 to sort of oppose him on that long diagonal. And I think that's what I think that's the plan that I'm going to do. And if bishop e7, if he plays e4 instead, well, still bishop f6. So, do I want to trade the dark square bishops? Yeah, I think that helps me solve one of my developing problems. But if I trade off that bishop on f6, is my c5 pawn going to be weak? Well, yes, but I can always defend it with d6. It's not obvious how white is going to attack that square, so I think this is what I want to have happen, and then See, one idea here is my d6 square is weak and also my c5 square, so he may try and bring his knight from d2 to come into e4 and hit d6 and c5. So I need to anticipate that idea in case he leaves the e4 square open for his knight to come in. So I could play d6, queen c7 to guard those squares sufficiently, or I could play d5. But again, because white's development is faster than black's, I'm kind of, d5 is kind of committal, and kind of hesitant to just go for full center occupation with black that way. But yeah, so I think I've succeeded in taking the game into original territory, although that wasn't really what I set out to do. I wanted to challenge jrobi in in the mainline opening, so maybe the choice of e6 and b5 was kind of odd in that regard, but I'm okay with the position that I have here. So what might he do? Oh, he's interesting. He's playing c3. He does not want to trade the dark square bishops, and he's possibly following up with d4. When he plays d4, what do I want to do? Do I want to exchange? Now his knight is going to come there, and I can't take with knight because then my bishop on b7 is hanging. D5 exchange. I could play d. See, when he plays d4, takes d4 takes, knight takes. So I could play d5 here, and if he plays d4, I could push past with c4. That is a possible way that I could play this structure as well. Queen c7 might be a flexible move, which protects my bishop on b7. However, if he plays knight d2, he could follow up rook c1, and then this rook is opposite my queen. So maybe at this point I don't want to, with the very strong possibility of the c file opening, perhaps I don't want to put my queen on c7. So is he going to play e4? Is he going to play d4? I have to respect both options here. Maybe d5 is the way to go here. D5, and in this position, yes, I'm liking d5. I also could have considered b4 to try to exploit the pin on the pawn on c3, but that attack is not likely to succeed because I can't bring a lot of force to the c3 square, and I really have to be making moves that promote my development and and or challenge center squares. So I'm challenging him. I'm making it more difficult for him to play e4. So that is why I played d5. So my knight on g8 could come to e7. But that would allow me to castle. See, I'm thinking of lines for him that involve him bringing his knight to b to d2, and then rook e1 and e4. Another good idea for him might be to put his queen on c2 and then play for c4. Of course, then well, alright, so he's played d4. I could take twice, and then that forces his pawn to go to d4, so then his bishop on b2. Well, his bishop could redeploy to a3, so that... So he takes, he probably knight takes. And I can knight take and d take. And then I can play knight e7 and castle. What else can I do? He's quite possibly threatening to take on c5 and push b4. So if I don't, I should either... I don't like the idea of protecting it with my queen, because then he can take and play bishop a3 to gain a tempo on me. I can play c4. That is an interesting way to sort of resolve the tension that way. But then he can just redeploy his bishop, bishop a3. That's kind of annoying. Maybe... See, if I take, it opens up the c3 square for his knight, but I mean, I have to give him something. No, in most chess positions, every single move has some kind of a drawback. And c takes d. It solves my problem of having a weak pawn on c5 that I can't easily defend with pieces, and it solves one of his problems in that his knight can then come out to c3. So the question is, does he want to try and exchange another piece with knight takes d4? Or does he just want to play c takes d? And it's getting to an exchange Slav situation now, where I'm not sure whether the pawn on b5 is going to be a liability or not. I'm thinking of just playing a6 here. Just if he wants to take on c6, okay. Takes brings his c3 pawn to d4, and perhaps that's not, that improves his position perhaps. But if I play a6, he might be able to play a4 and try and capitalize on the pawn on b5. Of course, then I can take on d4. So I think a6 is the proper move here. So that's how you pre-move. Again, it's the first time I've used this interface, so. Again, a4 at some point looks critical, trying to take advantage of black's queenside. All right, so this move, he wants to play e4, and I'm okay if he does that, so I'll just get on with my development. Got to play a little quicker here. So I have a slight spatial advantage. I have the pawn on d5 versus his pawn on c3, but if he plays e4 and liquidates it, that could go away. All right, so this, he clearly wants to play his d knight to f3. I wonder if I can push past with e5. How good is that? d5, if he takes, knight takes. And then e4. Now that he's temporarily blocked his d file, it's very tempting for me to play e5 here and try and go for the... Since his knight is kind of short of useful squares now. So if I play e5, he takes there. Do I want to take with bishop or do I want to take with knight? Taking with knight to improve the position of the knight is tempting. However, the bishop on b7 is kind of would kind of be misplaced in the event that white is playing a4. So I'm thinking e5, if he takes there, I take with bishop. And that helps my bishop get to a better diagonal, and where it's not getting in the way of rooks or queens trying to defend the b pawn. See, then the only question is if he plays e4 then. So e5 takes, bishop takes, e4. I think I want to push past with d4, and then it would be more convenient to have a knight there to support the d4 move. So I like e5. I think it's the right moment for this move. I'm just checking the details in my mind here. Yeah, I'm going to play So he obviously saw that move coming. All right, so d5 is sufficiently guarded at the moment. e5 is sufficiently guarded. Time to castle. All right. It's time to move off of that diagonal. So he's probably going to get ready to play a4 and try and, that's why I played rook b1 to try and line up on this bishop on b7. So I'm thinking of ways to solve this problem. See, if I bring my bishop to c8, redeploy it, then maybe his bishop on g2 comes into play. Because then I have a loose knight on c6, a rook there, so... I'm thinking maybe if I play the bishop to c8 and then combine it with rook a7, swinging the rook on my second rank. That's another idea that I could use here. All right, so here he's opening up the diagonal potentially for the bishop. Let's see, if I push, I don't like the idea of pushing. I have to try and take advantage of this. He's going to have a rook on e4. Or is he? Well, I think it's time to take. My instinct says that his e4 move is not sufficiently prepared, and I'm going to try and punish him. So he's going to end up with a rook on e4. And then I have a knight move that I can play, but where does the knight go? Knight e7, knight a5. Maybe I want to put the knight on, redeploy the knight to g6 to protect the e5 pawn more. So knight e7, queen trades. Bring that, he brings it here. So I'm attacking his rook currently. Let's see, he takes there? No, the exchange stack doesn't do anything for him. So he may choose to take my queen, and I develop my rook into the center. So then I'm thinking this knight maybe comes to g6. G6 or f5? No, I think g6. So, I want to do some kind of a push to e4. See, he's moved off of the e4 square, so maybe I can bring the bishop to e4. See if he wants to take on d8. Or just move his rook over. Wonder how I'm going to make progress here. He's keeping the tension nicely here, so I'm just going to play h5. Takes an e4. Takes an e4 and then b4. That looks like a... Even though I'm giving up my bishop, this looks like a useful... Oh no, I forgot he can trade his rook. I have to take with bishop if he does that. Gosh. Yeah, and b4 to try and exploit that diagonal. I don't know, I think my idea of moving the knight to g6 is perhaps not good. All right, here this allows me to intensify the pressure on the bishop. Maybe some kind of a, if he plays rook over, maybe some kind of a rook take and bishop take. Maybe I can play e3 to try and get my other rook in the game. Because his pawn is still pinned. I'm attacking b2 with 2 pieces, so. And the back rank stuff doesn't really affect because I can block with the knight on f8, so. I'm not immediately getting back rank mated if he like plays c takes b. After my rook comes off the back rank. So my knight on g6 was a little bit awkward. I think that was not the best way to position that piece, but this is going to help me perhaps get doubled up on the 7th if he allows me to do so. If he plays rook there, see, then I just take and then take on b2. Or do I take on b2 now? Taking on b2 now might be better, actually. If he takes my e rook, I take his b rook and then play bishop takes. If he takes there, I take there and then play bishop takes. So both his rooks are hanging. Like if he takes either rook, I take his other rook. I also could have taken on e1, I suppose, and then taken, but I think this way is better. Because if he takes my b rook, I take his e rook, and he plays king f2, I play bishop takes c3, which protects my rook, and also gets a pawn. If he takes my e rook, I take his b rook, and then he takes king f2, then I play b takes c3, and the pawn is difficult to stop. Again, any kind of a back rank check he can give me, I can play knight f8. All right, take this for check. And b takes c, I think, is the move I want to play here. B takes c. He can play bishop e4. Then I have rook b2 check, and then c2. Or do I just play rook b2 check now? No, I think this is better. So how does he get out of check here? All right. I think, do I have anything better than just taking his rook off? I just got to take his rook off and, you know, play with my extra piece. So I need to get my king over to the queen side ASAP. Let's not drop the... Well, I can drop that pawn because it can push g6 to drop it. I want to keep my knight near the queen side. At some point, I want to play g6 to stop him from snatching that pawn. All right, so king there. So now I control b6. He will never be able to push this pawn. Oh, did I just hang that? Shoot. That was unfortunate. How do I want to play this? So he's going to take there. I'm going to take his g-pawn. Oh, he let me do that. Now I'm hitting his bishop and protecting my pawn. And he just hung his bishop. So yeah, I think the gravity of the situation has sunk in. He says, looking for resign button, and to be honest, I have no idea where it is either. Okay. Yeah.
Hey.
Hey. Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I couldn't find the resign button either.
Yeah, I found it underneath our names there. Now, I don't know if I can flip back through the moves on the site or not. Oh, replay and analyze. Let me just click that and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, so I got an analysis board up. Can you click that as well?
Yeah. So
yeah.
I can see, spectators, Greencastle and jrobichess. So can you see?
Oh, this is so sweet.
Can you see the moves that I'm making?
Moves. Okay. No, I don't see the moves you're making.
This is odd. I give like a reflection of a pawn.
But I can click through the moves, though, I think.
Yeah, I can do that too. Oh wait, there's a board. No, not board editor. Flip board. Continue from here. Yeah, I think there's no way to go. Is there a way to do arrows and highlight stuff?
I'm not too sure.
I don't think they thought of that.
But just let me know, as you're talking, where you are in the game. I'm flipping to. So I opened up with the ready tonight because I wasn't too sure if I should do e4 again.
Yeah, not quite a ready yet. I mean, I haven't really committed my center. I usually think of the ready as being a family of openings where white is playing c4 but not d4, and then black has a pawn on d5. But this, I played e6, and this is a move that has a myriad of possibilities behind it, and I've used it successfully over the board. I was just going to play like if I had played c5 on move 1. I was curious as to whether you were going to play e4 or do something else, because if you had played e4, I was going to play c5 and try and go into one of the main lines.
Oh yeah, okay.
So e6. And then when I saw g3, I thought maybe you were just going to go, straight King's Indian attack. And
yeah.
So I played I tried to grab some queenside space here.
Yeah, you did good on grabbing the queenside space for sure.
For c5 after d3, knight c6. 6b3 surprised me. I think perhaps white should just play e4 here.
Let me go back a move here. E4 instead?
Yeah, e4 instead of 6b3. Now, I cannot draw, so I can't do variations on this, can I?
Oh, there's a board editor.
Yeah.
Let me just click that and see what happens. Okay, yeah. Click board editor.
I don't think that's the same thing. No, this is just, it's allowing me to It's not going through the game anymore. It's just allowing me to make
Oh, okay.
moves.
Oh, now I totally lost my. Can I go back? Okay, there we are.
Yeah. So I guess each game has a permanent URL.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So like it's capital G lowercase k txv tyc /black.
Yeah.
I bet if I put /white, it would put white at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So after B3, I was like, let's get into the double fianchetto. I wanted to come out with a solid position on the opening. I wasn't too sure. Like I noticed that both of us hadn't grabbed any of the key central squares yet.
Right. I was sort of waiting to see which of the key central squares you were going to grab.
See, initially I was like, okay, well, since I played D3, I was like, I'm going to get the rook out there on E1 and then push up to E4.
Yeah, this is late. This is after the. You brought your bishop to B2. I brought my bishop to F6.
Yeah.
And here you decided to play C3.
Yeah, I didn't want to take your bishop and help you develop your knight.
Yes, understandable, sure.
I was also considering at the time pushing to D4.
D4, I think I play knight takes there.
Yeah, so D4
because then
knight takes.
If you knight take, then I get to take your bishop on G2.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so like there, I tried to avoid. Maybe I should have just taken your bishop there. I don't know. What do you think?
Gosh, I keep thinking I can drag, but I can't.
Yeah, me too.
See, bishop takes bishop. I was just gonna take with knight, but actually, queen takes is actually kind of interesting there. Queen takes, and then I think you have to play C3.
Yeah,
because you're. Or no, you could. I guess you could play.
I could go knight to D2.
You could go knight D2, and I can't really play queen C3 because you have knight E4.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's one of the moves that I have to watch out for in this structure is that white is going to leave the E4 square open and then bring the knight from B1 to D2 to E4, and then I have a potentially weak pawn on C5. Because I can't protect it with the B pawn, and a potentially weak square on D6. So that knight maneuver is something that I have to be conscious of, and so I don't think if you're able to just play knight D2 there, I don't think I can queen take. I have to knight take. So bishop takes and then knight takes, and you would play pawn to E4 probably.
Yeah.
And then I was just going to play pawn to D6. And
D6.
It's Sicilian with the bishops traded.
Yeah. So C3, I wasn't too happy with, but I did like it in the sense that it took away the D4 and B4 square from your knight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I decided to play D5 just to make it more difficult for you to play pawn to E4.
Yeah.
And although that's not really the move that I would like to play in this position, I'd like to play knight E7, but I think then maybe you can redeploy your bishop to A3, and that would create some problems.
Yeah.
So D5 I think is okay, and then you play D4, and then I decide to exchange my pawn. And then here I was thinking of just playing knight takes and going for the exchange Slav structure, but then I decided just to play A6, and I was wondering if you can try and blow up my position with pawn to A4.
Oh yeah, okay.
That would have been the key continuation, I think, after A6.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about pawn to A4 in that.
Yeah, because Black's queen side, I've sort of been a little dishonest, by taking the queen side so quickly, and a lot of the times Black's pawns are, can be vulnerable, especially when my bishop is not on the F8 diagonal.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the B5 move combined with the bishop E7, bishop F6 maybe creates that liability there.
Yeah.
So I was happy when I saw rook E1 because even if you're going to play E4, I can just take and liquidate.
Yeah.
So knight E7 and D2, and then here I decide to play E5. And then knight takes c6. I was thinking of bishop takes c6 because my bishop is now not so well placed on b7.
Yeah. Actually, then that was one of my goals. Was I was trying to create such a structure in the center where at least I can blunt the light square bishop, because I knew that your dark square bishop was going to be a little bit better once you pushed either to e4 or we had some trades or whatever. So that's why I played the.
So I took back with knight because if I take with bishop, I think you're able to play e4, and then I would really like to meet e4 with d4, but I can't really do that with my king is in the center and I don't have knight control over d4. So I played knight takes. So if you're going to play e4, which is what all your pieces are looking behind, then I was going to push past with d4. Yeah. But you played knight f3, which is different, obviously. And castles, rook a b1, which was a good move, I thought, because again, you're possibly getting ready to play a4.
Yeah.
And I can't. If I take it, then your rook is then opposite my bishop.
Yeah.
So I played rook fe8, just sort of a useful move, waiting, and then you played e4. So here, I think I chose the wrong plan. I certainly think that black should take here. But then I couldn't find a good discovery here. I maneuvered my knight to g6, thinking that I was going to be able to play e4 and then knight e5, but that never really materialized, and the knight was just very awkwardly placed on g6.
Yeah, I didn't see any discovery there either, so I knew my rook was okay there temporarily on e4.
Perhaps it would have been better to go knight a5 here, just to keep the knight on the queen side.
You mean after the rook capture?
Yeah, after you played rook captures e4, knight a5 instead of knight e7.
Yeah, I think that would have been better too, because once you got your knight onto g6, I was quite happy knowing that it couldn't really do anything. So even when I went down a piece initially, I was like, your knight was perched there on g6 for quite a while, right? So yeah, I think your a5 knight would have been definitely stronger. I don't know if I should have done the queen trade here or not. Let me just see here.
All right. Well, you have to. If you don't do that, you got to move your rook.
Yeah, so I think that's why I had to do it. So I just took the queen, brought the rook back.
I mean, if you just move your rook somewhere like rook e1,
yeah,
then I probably play queen c7 and then rook a d8, and you have to move your queen somewhere anyway.
Yeah.
So I guess is not bad to take on d8.
So we trade the queens off. I bring the rook back to e1, and then you play knight to g6.
Again, maybe I want just any square but g6.
Yeah.
Perhaps even. I want to keep the light square diagonal open.
Yeah.
See, if I play e4 here, like if I push to e4 instead of knight g6.
Yeah, so then
what happens? I mean, what square does your knight have? You can't go to d2 because my rook is on d2.
Yeah, I can't go to d2.
If you go to h4, I chop it off.
Yeah.
You have to play knight d4, I think.
Yeah, knight d4. Bishop takes. Or pawn takes.
Knight d4, and then I think I exchange on d4 and then play f5.
Yeah.
And then followed by bringing the knight to d5. Again, I can't really show you how that looks because I can't drag stuff, but
yeah.
So that I think was a missed chance here to really start to press in this position.
Yeah, I thought I was not bummed out at all to see knight to g6 because I felt that it, at the time I was like, I think I even said when I was playing that if I could try to maintain the bishop's influence on the center. See, the dark square bishop was always a problem for me right from the beginning because of the pawn to c3. and that was unfortunate. I think if that would have been opened up earlier for me, I think it would have been a better position. But when you went knight to g6 and then I went rook to d1,
Yeah.
I was basically thinking getting another attacker on the d4 square for when the knight does get there.
Yeah.
But let's see here. You brought your light square bishop down. I thought that was a really good move.
Yeah,
Bishop
I want
d4.
to force your rook to move to a different square, and
Yeah.
perhaps I was trying to get access to d2. That is the whole point of
Yeah.
my play here. So after you put the rook on a1, I chopped on f3 and I played e4.
Yeah.
So um, so can you? I'm wondering if you could take on d8 here. Like after I play e4.
Well, hold on a second. I'm just looking at this. After your e4.
After my e4, if you take on d8, I have two ways to take back. If I take with rook, then you can play bishop takes e4.
Yeah.
However, this allows me to push to b4. You know, gets the pressure on the
bishop.
the c3 pawn, which is
Yeah.
pinned. So I guess you would have to play rook c1 there if you want to defend that.
Yeah.
But then I have rook d2, and where do you go?
Yeah, because I played just bishop back, but maybe rook takes would have been a little better.
Yeah, it's good to it's good to be skeptical of being the first to trade rooks off of an open file, but
yeah.
But again, I think that needs some analysis.
I think so, because like I'm just looking at it right now. So if rook takes, you can't take back with. Well, if you take back with the rook, you drop the pawn. So you take back.
Right.
With
I no. I want to take back with rook. I want.
Yeah. So you would take back.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this pawn dropping because then I get in pawn to b4.
b4 on your pawn. Yeah.
And so I'm sacrificing the e4 pawn to gain an initiative based on your dark squares.
Yeah, I really don't. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't like my bishop to g2 at all. It's way too passive.
Yeah.
I should have looked for more of an aggressive line because your knight's still out of play reasonably. Like, I mean, you do have e5 to get him out of there, or even.
Yes, well, I mean, bishop g2 is not bad. I mean, if you play your bishop to a different square, just like e2, then I maybe can consider knight e5. And whereas on bishop g2, I can't play knight e5 because then you just chop on e4.
That's right, yeah.
So it sort of, I don't know, sort of limits my knight even further.
Yeah.
So after bishop g2, I played b4. Again, the attack on the pinned pawn.
Yeah.
Rook dc1 seems okay. Rook d2. Can you play differently there? Probably not, because if you play rook ac, I can just trade rooks. I take on d1 and then take on c3, and black has a big advantage. Rook c1, and then I played rook d2. And here, I mean, there are already like some interesting sacrifice possibilities of taking on b2 and then taking with bishop. But see, rook a d1. I played e3 because I want to get my other rook in the position.
Yeah.
And the knight on g6 actually does something good here. Like, I don't have to worry about you opening up, taking this pawn, sacrificing the piece, and getting to my back rank, because I always have knight f8.
Yeah.
So I'm never getting back row mated here. So e3, just bringing another attacker in. When you take, my rook comes there, and c3 is being hit again. So here, I think this is very unpleasant. Maybe white is just lost already.
I think so. There's way too much pressure on c3, and the bishop on b2. Yeah, it's just not pretty. Once you take back the rook, and then I swing. That was bad.
Can you possibly, I don't know, bishop a1 here, and then I probably take on c3.
Yeah, bishop a1. You take on c3, or
No,
you
no,
can just double.
that is a sad looking move, isn't it?
It is,
Or
but you
bishop
can.
a1. Maybe I just play rook. Maybe I don't take. Maybe I just play rook
e2.
e2, and
Yeah,
then
and then you're
get the
slaughtering me.
yeah.
Yeah, because the light square bishop's just gonna collapse. So, like, see, well, hold on here. Rook to e2. I'd probably try to get my light square bishop out of dodge, but keep it on that long diagonal just so that you can't check me on g2.
Yeah, bishop f3 attacks my rook, and then I probably don't want to take on h2 because that just gives you a tempo to unravel. I should probably
Yeah,
play rook f2 instead, which threatens your bishop.
yeah.
And so now you have to do something about that, and also, um, I don't know, because when I play rook e2, it does take pressure off of c3. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So is there anything else later in the game that's worth commenting on?
I don't think so. Like, I'm just looking through it here.
Yeah, you played when I played rook b2 check. You know, after the rooks came off, and I'm up a piece. Um, I don't know. You played rook e2, but if you don't do that, I think I just push c2 and then
Yeah,
get to
and it's over.
c1. So here it's just me being up a piece.
Yeah, it was good, and then I just totally blundered away the bishop there on.
Yeah, I think you had to take on f7. I did a minor screw up here, and when you
Yeah, and I just missed that
bishop
completely.
f8. But I mean the f7 pawn is not that important. I should be able to win with the extra piece here.
Yeah, no, that was good. So yeah, it was a good game, and I enjoyed doing this series. Maybe sometime in the future, after a little bit more training, we can do another set of 3. So let's see, you won once with white and once with black, and I won once with white. So 2-1. So we definitely came out the better on this end of things. Now I wanted to ask you those questions that we had talked about earlier.
Sure, sure.
For the viewers here. So like how long? Like just so you guys know. Greencastle is U.S. Chess expert right now. He's on the verge of becoming a national master at some point, and maybe even in the near future. He can maybe talk a little bit about that. But how long have you been playing chess for?
Oh gosh. Let's see. I started the year before high school. So, let's see. I graduated high school in 2000. So let's just say 1995 sometime.
Okay, so you've been playing for about what, 18 years?
Yeah, yeah. Something like that. Seems no,
Yeah, about
it
18
doesn't
years.
seem like that long. It seems like it's been like 15 years or so, but
Okay. Well, that's pretty good. And
it's closer to 18, 19 years.
so you started a bit younger, not as young as the guys out there like these days, like Ray Robson and stuff.
Yeah,
But
these days they start very young. It's a popular sport for.
yeah. Now, in your opinion, what was the biggest contribution along the way to your chess strength? Like, what training did you notice really helped along the way on your own personal development journey?
Hmm. Um. Gosh, that would depend on the point in my chess uh, career that we're talking about. Like at one point it helped me to just look at a bunch of master games,
Yeah.
just sort of like out of a magazine, and
Now, would
just
you
go.
focus on the ones where you were playing the openings? Like, would you focus on master games
No,
of
I just any high level game that I could get my hands on, I would just go through the moves and look for patterns and such. And
yeah.
it's become a lot. I mean, I would just do it like on an actual chessboard, with the magazine in front of you.
Yeah.
It's with today's technology, it's a lot faster. You can actually go through like a four or five games in a minute
On the
if you
viewer.
want to, and just sort of view them very quickly and get a sense of the trends. What's going
Yeah.
on in every game, what happens in this structure, etc. And but back when I was first starting to really study, it was harder to do. You had to actually set up a chessboard and go through each game, and it might take 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. So you started out looking at some master games, then
Yeah,
kind
I
of
was a
as
big
you
I was a
evolved.
big fan in high school. I was a big fan of Nimzovich Ready, the hypermodern systems. But
Okay.
later on, I started to appreciate the value of mainline openings and memorizing opening theory and really trying to be on top of like the lines that the 2600s, 2700s are playing.
Yeah.
And once you learn, once you try and get into those openings, what you'll find is that people start avoiding the mainline theory.
Yeah.
Like if you get familiar with like one of the openings that I'm playing now is the Najdorf Sicilian, and if you get familiar with the variations of the Najdorf Sicilian, like uh, you know through move 10 or 12 or so, and then you try and practice them on online opponents, you'll find that most of your online opponents are going to be getting out of book at move like 7 or 8.
You know what? I saw an article today. It wasn't an article. It was I think it was a tweet on Twitter from I think his name's Dan Heisman. I think that he's a fairly famous coach in the States there. And
Yeah, I've heard of him. He's a Philly tutor on
yeah, and
ICC.
he
He
said,
makes a lot of videos, and he does personal instruction and
yeah,
charges like absurd amount, like $80-$90 an hour or something.
yeah, too much for my blood. But but he said on his Twitter, he said that it's not uncommon for chess players to own 20, 30, 40 books, and in their own openings, they don't know what to do after move 4 because they don't really study the opening. They just kind of they don't memorize the opening lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they, and he said that's a problem. He said if you're that type of player where by move 4 you're just kind of playing the position, I think is what he was getting at, is that there's an issue with that, especially if you have so many chess books. So that's definitely good to look at your openings.
Yeah, I have a lot of chess books. I don't read all of them.
I had a lot too before the flood, and
Mm.
I read most of them. The ones that I probably did the most were on my favorite openings, I guess.
Yeah.
But so after that, would you say that now you're primarily focusing on opening lines, going through
Yeah,
match?
that's going to be one of my main areas of improvement. I want to really explore the mainline openings and be able to challenge players, in those areas, and be able to really get the best objective position possible out of the opening stages of the game, as opposed to
Yeah,
just sort of learning a structure and going for that structure every time, and
yeah,
trying to get a position that's familiar but not necessarily uh, objectively good. And some players play like that,
yeah,
but in order to actually try to improve, you have to actually tackle the hard stuff.
yeah.
And make
Um,
no mistake, the Najdorf Sicilian is I'm finding it is a very difficult opening. There's a lot of ways to lose quickly.
I actually had a subscriber tell me to drop my Sicilian because at my level, so I've been playing since 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Took a couple years off, so I've been playing. When I was away from YouTube for 2 years, I just played Blitz primarily, didn't do any really studying at all. So let's see here, 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've been playing about 4 years with studying.
Yeah.
And I think the subscriber said that the Sicilian wasn't the defense to use at that kind of where I'm at right now at my development. Like they were saying that it's maybe a little bit too advanced to at my current level. So I've been thinking of going to E4 E5.
That is also a good idea.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you noticed any kind of correlation between your playing strength over the years and the openings that you used or not, but
Yeah, I found that actually went up when I started playing E4 E5. I mean, I did lose quite a lot of games because again, e4, e5, it's very, you get into some very contentious situations early.
Yeah.
But, I found it to be quite rewarding to, study those positions and get used to playing them.
Now, did you used to be a King's Indian attack player?
Oh, I've played all. Openings are just tools. You don't
Yeah.
really use them as part of your chess identity. I mean,
I'm trying.
I've played more or less everything that has a name.
Well, I'm trying to remember. When I first started watching your videos back in '07.
I mean, I used to play knight f3, but I wouldn't necessarily play the King's Indian attack.
Yeah. Okay.
Because playing just knight f3, g3, bishop g2 against everything, that gets to be kind of lame after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's why I've usually e4 all day, every day.
yes. So
Oh, that's good.
I actually preferred the lines where white is playing c4 and actually after a slight delay playing the move d4.
Yeah.
So it's knight f3 can really be used. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Kramnik's repertoire. He plays knight f3, and his goal is not to play the King's Indian attack or the ready. It's just a way of getting into mainline openings while avoiding others.
Yeah.
Kramnik will play knight f3, and then if you play d5, he'll play d4, and then c4, and it'll be a queen pawn opening. If you play knight f6, he'll play c4.
Yeah.
And then, g3, bishop g2, and after an eventual d4, it becomes un-English or whatever black is playing into. But the lack of putting the pawns on d4 and c4 takes away certain black defenses like the Nimzo-Indian or the Grunfeld.
And you used to do the English too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I played c4 consistently for quite some time, and the main difference is you're allowing black to play e5, c4 e5, and it's a family of openings that you have to know.
And you did I remember your Stonewall video from a long time ago.
Yeah, I used to play the Stonewall as well.
And that was as white, right?
Yeah, but I don't recommend it. It's not really. It gets stale after a while. This recording is going to be almost an hour. I just noticed. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to answer those questions.
That was okay.
And once again, thanks for the games, Matt. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys like it. Thumbs up if you do. And stay tuned for some more chess sparring there. Either whether it's Matt next coming up or somebody else. So take care. Thanks for watching the video, guys.
I wonder if anyone's going to watch this whole thing.
Well, yeah, put a comment in if you survived the whole time.
All right. Later, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Stop. Bye.